Nami's just there to compensate for the lack of mobility. And if they lock in the Varus, it's going to be a very strong poke composition. But for Flash Wolves, Senna, that means the Senna Nasus can be available for Eason and locking.
That's an interesting one that you mentioned there, Riku. Senna Nasus is something that we have been seeing rise in popularity, but not so much in the SEA Championship. SAIGON Phantom will go for the Corki and what looks to be the Vi again for Blake 1. But let's talk a little bit about the Senna pickup and what this means for Flash Wolves.
Yeah, Flash Wolves again having to lock in all of those infinite stacking if they do decide to go for that route. I mean, it still could be a Galio Senna bot lane, but it still doesn't change the fact that as the game progresses, Senna is just going to be incredibly scary and when it comes to the damage output, all the soul stacking, and now Xin Zhao for Cookie. That means still pretty much the same dynamic, very strong early game, big level 3, big level 5s, and possibly even focus their efforts towards top side for Ysera.
Yeah, but Flash Wolves has moved away a little from the Wombo combo, from the Yasuo composition in SAIGON Phantom. They're looking to take the fight to Flash Wolves. They say we may have lost the first game, but we're not going to let that happen a second time coming. They grab the Ziggs now with the Fiora to deal with Renekton as Ysera. You know, things are looking pretty decent for this team. As well as the fact that, you know, we've been seeing some Galio paired together with Senna if the Galio comes online as that sort of AP carry while Senna's scaling up. But this means it's going to take a while, and Flash Wolves, we know they're risk adverse, but can they afford to take their time against SAIGON Phantom?
Yeah, that's the thing. So Flash Wolves will focus a lot to propel Ysera into that potential snowball. And again, it's a 2 birds in 1 stone kind of thing as well, because that means they're able to also shut down Trump Top before the late game arrives for that 4-1 split push as well, coming from the side of SAIGON Phantoms.
So definitely very important on how this top matchup is going to play. Yeah, we saw Irelia come through last game. Now it's going to be Fiora and Renekton. It's an interesting one for sure. This is a little bit more conventional. We've seen a little bit more of this, haven't we, Riku?
Yeah, I'm very excited about this pickup here as, again, big level 5s coming in, trying to visit the top side with Bruce. Gonna form a dive against Trump Top. And meanwhile, pre-level 5 is going to be interesting. We'll see if Ysera can survive the big level 1. We're not seeing the usual soak experience in the mid lane.
Yeah.
But it is SAIGON Phantom over here who's going to get priority, going to help get priority rather for Goni. And it is not going to be Gunner on the Corki. It is going to be more of that mage bot lane. So that's going to be a ton of poke and range. So feels bad a little bit for Eason here as that melee support.
Yeah, the melee support's going to take a little bit of harass. So they just have to be a little bit careful with that. But I guess the bright side is, you know, locking has set a lot of sustain there with the blinding darkness. We do see an interesting start. So the movements from SAIGON Phantom seems very contemporary. I could put it that way. Going to the mid lane, grabbing some EXP, then move to the bottom side. But as a result, they've lost a little bit of momentum, a little bit of tempo there. So Flash Wolves will get some decent control to start.
Yeah, that's a lot of control, a lot of poke as well. Because of the Winds of War, and as well as locking here on the Senna, they're able to take control, especially come level 3 for the Galio. This 2 squishy dual laners are going to be very vulnerable for a taunt, justice, punch, lock-in.
Both sides will end up trading Scuttle Crabs, but it looks like Cookie is actually even a little bit more ambitious than that, was walking towards the Dragon lane, but a little bit too much, I think, and decides he has to go for the Scuttle Crab instead. It seems like Blake 1 will do the same. For now, though, Ysera has to be aware of this. I think he has to be a little bit careful. First game, he died first as well. So now, just gotta be extra careful in the Baron lane.
Yeah, it looks like he saw it coming, despite, you know, Blake still not level 5. But a dive could potentially happen, but look at Cookie, he's nearby.
Yeah, Blake 1's definitely trying to force the issue here. Bruce is going to make his way up to the top side. He gets a decent amount of healing, gets the shield from the barrier, still alive at this point. A lot of damage coming through from the turret. And Cookie, he crashes forward, but isn't able to find anything just yet. He uses the audacious charge onto the creep. Won't be able to find the distance that he needs, and that's the win. Becomes lightning, puts the gold card, misses out the wild cards, but it doesn't matter. Ysera with first blood.
There we go. We talked about this before. Bruce and Cookie visiting topside to relieve or either add pressure. It's going to be a 2 birds in 1 stone kind of thing because they will enable Ysera and as well as shut down Trump Top here on this Fiora. And it's going to get even more prevalent once Bruce gets level 5, get that Destiny, even getting First Blood Tower, perhaps. More kills for Ysera and possibly even getting the Rift Herald. Maybe using that for a different part of the map. So I believe that this will be the formula that Flash Wolves are going to take.
Well, let's see what Blake has to say about this. He's going to jump right onto Senna right away. Locking has to try and flash away. Already burned both his summoners. There's a huge Aqua Prison onto 2. But Bruce is in here. He's joined into the fight. They find the first kill back on the Divine. There's no mana left on Gunner, but he still has the flash. Can at least get away. But Bruce, he might have something to say about this. Still has a decent amount left in the tank. Pops the gold card. Is prepared. He flashes in. He's onto the Ziggs. Won't be able to get the damage through, though. Hero's entrance barely dodged away by Goni. And Saigon Phantoms and Flash Wolves and an impasse.
That is just an aggressive flash coming from Bruce, possibly wanting to get a gold card in and a wild card, finish off the kill, maybe one auto attack, but it's definitely not enough. But the thing is, 30 seconds more or less for the next objective to spawn, or rather Rift Herald, and as well as the Ocean Drake, meaning Bruce is going to be very vulnerable in the next fight, even locking as well. So Saigon Phantom can use this as an opportunity, especially if Blake gets his assault and battery up on time for the next fight.
Yeah, this next one is going to be especially interesting. And I want to hear your thoughts on this, Riku, because Flash Wolves, you said it yourself, they're a team that's willing to scale up. You know, you get the TF online, you get the Senna online, and despite that, they've taken the fight much more aggressively this time around. They're taking the handshake trades with Saigon Phantoms, and have been coming up ahead. What does this mean for Flash Wolves here?
Exactly, they can just keep doing this, just trying to see if they can punish any sort of aggressive plays coming from Flash Wolves. And now, for Saigon though, we're looking into a strong mid-game. Goni, 2 items, perhaps Essence Reaver, Solari Chargeblade, and then Rabadon's Ludens for Gunner. And I feel like that is the sweet spot for Saigon Phantom to be more confident in these fights.
Alright, but Saigon Phantom looks like they have confidence and plenty of it to boot. They're moving on to the Rift Tower and trying to take that one down first by his cookie that secures it. And Blake immediately follows after. And now they're jumping back onto Gunner. He has to flash. He has to dodge away. Wind becomes lightning. Connects with the Winds of War. The shooting ran just out of arm's reach. But they still move back onto Ziggs. And Gunner is dead. Cookie will hand it over to Easton, in fact, getting this gal even further ahead.
That is wild for Flash Wolves. Not only do they get the Rift Herald, but also the fact that they were able to get 2 kills on the side of Saigon Phantom, meaning that Saigon can't exactly position right away towards the dragon area. We'll see though, as locking will reset a little bit later. But that means Flash Wolves can get a 2-in-1 deal in this scenario. Getting that Ocean Drake for that Omnivamp will increase their chances of survivability in these fights, especially they want to out-sustain Saigon Phantom with a lot of poke coming from the side of this team with Corky and Ziggs.
And I want to mention as well very quickly, I mean, looking at the build path, this is very interesting for me, seeing both the Executioner's Calling on Blake as well as knocking, as well as the Bramble Vest. I mean, Bramble Vest makes sense, yeah, against a field, but then double Executioner's Calling early on gives them a lot of those grievous wounds, denies a lot of the healing coming through. So we're seeing much less impact, I think, from our HK going into these fights.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you there. The sustain definitely needed, especially, you know, Bruce has a little bit of poke as well. Just decreases the survivability overall. So I imagine this Ocean Drake will be very, very important for Flash Wolves to try and deny most of the sustain away from Saigon Phantom. But yeah, you're talking about the build path here. It seems it's not going to be the Essence Reaver into the Solari Chargeblade. It is going to be the Manamune into the Triforce. So that means Goni will have to keep stacking that up. So it's going to take a little bit of time before Goni's rockets will be able to hurt.
Yeah, slightly delayed on the power spike from Goni. So interesting choice from Saigon Phantom. You know, considering they are playing against a composition that is scaling, and you have to wonder if scaling with them is also what you might want to do. For now, though, things are looking pretty decent. Again, good damage on Loki, forced the heal off, and that was close there for Flash Wolves.
That is definitely something that you do not want. Imagine if Goni was involved in that fight. The rockets, the big one into the bouncing bombs, that is going to be an insta-death. And Eason will really have nothing to contribute to save Locking's life. It could have been disastrous. Flash Wolves could have lost that Ocean Drake there and then, but they survived.
Look at that, though. Bruce and Trump Top have both made their way towards the dragon side. This is interesting. Saigon Phantoms will take control of the dragon first. It doesn't seem like Bruce has enough time to reset. He has the ultimate, but it's going to be difficult to get much more done.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit difficult now because Saigon Phantom, again, they're still not ready to fight. They still need Rabadons for Gunner. Gunny again still has to have that Triforce and Muramana. Flash Wolves, on the other hand, they're happy with the setup of having to get picks across the map because Bruce does have that Destiny already online. So if they manage to get a 4v5 situation, then that is the time they can fully commit to this dragon. And that is the reason why we see this dance, this dragon dance in the mid lane, just clearing waves and then seeing if they can try their luck and see if they can get a pick.
Well, even if you want to try your luck, Saigon Phantoms, they might want to make a quick pick stop. Not much mana left on Gunner. I don't think he has a lot left in the tank for that. So dragon fight could become a lot more difficult if he doesn't have the mana to take it. Seems like Flash Wolves, they realize this, so they're going to make their way back towards the dragon first. Going to start this one up and hopping the Rift there in the mid lane as well, just to get some tempo there.
And they're able to put down that pressure, and that is exactly what they wanted to do. Put the Rift Herald in, Saigon Phantom forced to respond to that, and easy take by Flash Wolves. I really love the patience coming from this team. They know that they really don't have to do anything much, and they're fine with just getting that objective away from Flash.
And this is what
from Saigon.
Yeah, this is the criticism that you had for Flash Wolves going into the last game, right? With the fact that they used the Rift Herald too early before the dragon was up meant that they had to commit to that, and Saigon Phantoms could contest both the Rift Herald in the mid lane and the dragon right after. This time around, much better timing. They used it as it was crashing in the mid side, so they could secure that Drake themselves very early on. As it looks like Ysera, he baits out the repulse, and now moving to the top side, trying to take down Trom here. Barely gets away. He still has the barrier, survives through it.
Yeah, imagine if that collapse came in sooner by Flash Wolves. It would have been an insta-death for Trom top, but he still lives. But watching the movements now coming from Flash Wolves, they seem to have to form this potential death squad, and it's going to be absolutely scary because there's just a ton of damage on the board already. Gold card, still no rapid fire cannon for that extra range for the side of Bruce, so we'll see Saigon Phantom can still buy a little bit of time.
Yeah, but Flash Wolves in different shape, in different form, looking much better than he did in the last game, and building up a good gold advantage to show for it as well. 6,000 almost over Saigon Phantoms, and Flash Wolves using this gold advantage should be able to convert it into more. Especially now that you see them locking, he's just going to keep scaling up, going to keep farming, and is moving into that Black Cleaver as well, just going to enable Ysera and Cookie oh so much more.
Exactly. Poor Blake as well here. I mean, we saw him earlier into the game, Blake fully building all of these armor just against Ysera, Cookie.
Yeah, that's a real pity, isn't it?
It is, but he'll definitely suffer still from Bruce from what we saw in the previous game. All that magic damage in the world just shredding through Blake. Eason.
Yeah, he's in the mid side, just going to stand off against Saigon Phantoms. Just it looks like they might want to start off this dragon. I think they're just going to clear the Skull Crab first. Yeah, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, Riku. Blake, he needs to build some armor to survive against Ysera, but if you do that, Bruce is going to shred through you. Eason as well, and so now you just really don't have a good response for it. Bruce locking is also starting to build some armor penetration as well. And looks like Flash Wolves are looking to take a fight in Saigon Phantom's jungle. They find some good damage off Dominus proc, and that's the flashing in. They're looking to lock this one down. Hero's entrance comes in. It's a little bit too late, though. They don't find much more, but over the world, Cookie! He takes down AOHK, and the dash in from Ysera to secure a second. They take down 3 from Saigon Phantoms.
Yeah, that is such an easy roam.
And I don't think it's quite over yet. Bruce walks in. He has the gold card all locked and ready. They take down 1 more in the mid lane.
This is the death squad from Flash Wolves, and now they even get the Baron on top of it. Saigon Phantom, unfortunately, they can only watch this happen. And the fact that Flash Wolves in such a huge lead, they can even gain access to the Infernal Drake as well later on in a few seconds.
Yeah, Goni has to be a little careful there. Okay, yes, the package. Yeah, so I was wondering why he stood so far forward. Anything could have come his way, he probably would have died, so still has that. Gets away pretty safely. But Baron over to Flash Wolves, 12.5 minutes in. They're looking to close this one out as quickly as possible. That denies a lot of the wave clear that Goni and Gunner both have. So just honestly, good lane clear, good wave clear, good lane management is going to be great for them.
And it all started because of this instance. It was just the 2-man death squad, and immediately Eason can just fly in using the hero's entrance. They're in such a huge lead that Flash Wolves can just keep doing this. And unfortunately, since Saigon Phantom is behind in general and map control, still look at the towers. They are standing strong. And it is very sad to watch because you have a Ziggs on the opposite side who's supposed to take down these towers.
Yeah, really not able to get the tempo or the identity that Saigon Phantom is looking for with this composition. In fact, been in control of Flash Wolves from almost minute one. I think even if you look back at the goal graph throughout this game, Flash Wolves had incredible tempo control. A big part of it as well, I think it's coming down to Sarah. Sarah looks so comfortable in this Renekton. I think he's looking in such great shape on it. So for now, though, lane's being cleared out. Looks like the hero's entrance. He's going to join up in the top side. Dawning Shadow comes across, and the redemption is going to keep them safe, holding onto this turret for dear life, but it's going to get taken down either way. Flash Wolves continue to break open the map.
This is a completely, almost perfect Flash Wolves game so far. Now they're doing a 1-3-1, just maximizing all of the Baron buff. And Saigon Phantom, they have no choice but to watch this. Goni and Gunner, they do have wave clear, but who is going to deal with the bottom and the top?
Yeah, it's a kill away from a perfect game. Eason is going to get knocked back. They're trying to get them off this mid wave, but it's going to be difficult, especially with Bruce bringing in the bottom side. And look at Ysera, look at Cookie bringing the top side as well. You know, there's only so much Saigon Phantoms can do. There are only 5 guys. And it feels like Flash Wolves, they're playing with 6. Look at how present they are with Bruce and Eason. Both of them have an extra person. Each makes for like a 6-man team for Flash Wolves.
That's crazy how Flash Wolves has managed to build up this lead, deny any sort of return by Saigon Phantom across the map. And this is exactly the result. 3 towers still standing strong. Feels like, you know, it's just a mini chip damage from bottom and top. And now this is the result. Even full dragon control coming from Flash Wolves. They've been very patient. And now it is a tad too late. We see that the Rabadons is already on the side of Gunner, but at this point, there's only your 3 inhibitor towers left. It's looking pretty grim.
Yeah. You have Rabadons and Gunner. You know who else has Rabadons? Eason. You support. He has Rabadons too. What are you looking at, Riku? I see just as much damage from the Galio support right now as we're seeing for the Ziggs Dragon Laner. I think Saigon Phantoms have definitely lost the scaling war. It doesn't seem like they're in great shape here, Riku.
Yeah, it's really, really grim. And Eason, having a very amazing game on this Galio, is able to poke them out immediately during the laning phase. And now being able to set up, follow through with heavy engages coming from Cookie and Ysera. And look at this Death Brush though. Dudes who have a ward, they're fine.
Yeah, it's so much of a death brush if your opponent knows you're there, right, Riku? So they're just gonna back away. You know, it seems like they got some spoilers, they got some information. They know how this horror movie plays out. We'll try to hold on for a little bit longer though, but the movie killer is right on them. Yeah, you see Cookie, Ysera, they're starting to put up some pressure. They're moving back towards the Baron and Saigon Phantoms. They have to respond to this somehow, some way. The Dawning Shadow over by the side. They're moving back in. They find top flashing in Ysera. We'll hand it over to Bruce in the mid lane. They're looking to take this one further as they've managed to find a huge taunt. Forcing the flash away. The audacious charge jumps into the back. They take down yet another AOHK. The Knicks still follow. They're back in the mid lane. 2 down on Saigon Phantom's side.
Flash Wolves don't even need Baron. They wanted to get a pick, and this is the pick that they're waiting for. Now they're straight to the Baron. 30 seconds, no support, no top laner. And again, it feels like even though the power spike is there for Saigon Phantom, it is a tad bit too late because of how much lead Flash Wolves has in this game. That is what, 15k gold lead. And now Saigon is just, you know, they're just gonna play tower defense at this point.
Oh yeah, I mean Saigon Phantoms, they're not a weak team by any means, but Flash Wolves have taken serious control of this game. Now their second Baron moving into this, 7-1, nearly a perfect game. No turrets lost at this point, no dragons. That's a difficult one. You know, you don't quite expect that. And like you mentioned, super minions pouring in from the bottom side. Flash Wolves have a myriad of ways to play this one out. They can wait for the other Drake, that's an option, or just split push. That's what you have Bruce for. The summoners are practically all up. They have practically every ultimate up for them as well. They move back into the mid lane. I don't quite see a way for Saigon Phantoms to fight back.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a huge lead. And the fact that even though, let's just say Saigon Phantom has a lot, well, not a lot. They do have pick potential because of the Assault and Battery and the Mega Inferno Bomb from far away, and as well as the Bubble. Easy lock-in. But the fact still remains that there is, what, 3 global ults on the side of Flash Wolves, so it's just very difficult to isolate a target and punish someone trying to split push the side lanes.
Yeah, Flash Wolves playing like they have a 6-man. Rotating around the map so quickly. It's difficult for Saigon Phantoms to catch up to them there. Now they're finally going to be able to break over the base here, surely. They move out to the top side. Ysera taking a beating of his own, but the turret's nearly gone, and the mid side will lose its life as the Nexus is already down to 1,000. What is happening there? Redemption coming through. The fight's breaking out. It looks like Saigon Phantoms are trying to hold on for dear life as the last stand, trying to take them down, but they're onto the Nexus here, surely. They're moving back onto Gunner, who has to pump the barrier. They don't have any way to stop this. It's game number 2 to the Flash Wolves.
That is a crazy finish, full on.